Welcome back.
Hi.
Welcome back. I am super excited to relaunch the Psychic Tea. Oh my gosh, what a journey. What a journey. So
Absolutely
happy.
incredible.
Face.
It's good to see you here. Good to
The
be here.
flyers for Spirit Beacon have come in.
We're super excited. All of us that are going to work for you for this event are super pumped. I love reading at Spirit Beacon. I meet some of the best people, and I get to meet some of the best vendors too.
Right. And we've got a wonderful new venue that I'm really excited to work with. The Peabody Marriott has been fantastic. So I am really looking forward. We got a much bigger space. We've got a private space for the psychics that are off behind a gorgeous velvet drape. We've got, oh my gosh, so cute. Wait till you see. All the psychic tables are going to have little lanterns on them that look like the lantern from the flyer. We've got our own dedicated entrance that's going to have the banner over it. It's just going to be wonderful. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. 9 psychics on Saturday, 9 psychics on Sunday, which Leanne will be there on Sunday. So if you're local and you're planning on coming down for Spirit Beacon, you can see Leanne on Sunday. Joanne will be there both days. Bruce will be there both days. Donna Childs will be there both days. Donna Kilgour will be there both days. We've got Ari coming in on the Saturday, Emma coming in on the Saturday, Tim coming in on the Sunday. We've got John Selig, brand new to Spirit Beacon, who'll be working with us for the first time. And we don't do many first timers. You know, I tend to work with my same team. So it's wonderful to have a great new addition to the team. He's going to bring some fresh energy. So really looking forward to having a brand new face. And he's got a wonderful energy. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. So come see the psychics at Spirit Beacon and come for the shopping. 27 and counting. I actually have, I had 3 more people reach out to me in the past 2 days. So we may get up to 30 vendors on the Saturday. And there should be at least 23 on the Sunday. So it's just going to be amazing. And go to Spirit Beacon on Facebook. The Spirit Beacon's page is facebook.com/Spirit Beacon Fairs. And you can take a look. I announce a couple of people each day. So every day, tune in over there and see and get a preview of what's happening, because I am just so pleased. We've got wonderful, wonderful people, some of our absolute favorite vendors returning. And then we've got brand new vendors that I cannot wait to shop with. So everything you could possibly imagine is going to be there. So it is wonderful, wonderful. Free parking, free admission, you know, everything. So join us.
And plus, it's at that wonderful Peabody Marriott. And I hear they have an amazing breakfast.
Oh, yes. The breakfast. Well, the breakfast is going to be served. And people who love Starbucks are going to be excited because they serve Starbucks there. So me being a Dunkin' girl, I'll be picking up something down the street. But I'll probably have breakfast there. But I'll get my coffee before I go. I'm going to get my coffee. But yes, super, super happy about that. So yeah, and can't even tell you how excited I am today, to talk to Tim Soaring Wolf about everything that's going on in the planets, because holy
boom, baby, what the hell is going on?
And B, to talk to our guest, who I could not be more excited to talk to, our very special guest today. So, all right. Leanne, please tell me the card of the month is going to be a positive one, because we just entered, you know, we're in Pisces season now, and we're
I know we're a little emotional,
and Saturn season, everything. So
we have, you know, the 7 of Pentacles. See,
Okay.
here it's
Mhm.
how we are going to handle what is coming up. Look at
Oh
this.
boy.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's a lot, you know. Every time I pull a card, I do a little extra research on it. And traditionally, this was called the Lord of Unfulfilled Success. So you can make more of this. All right. So it's about putting that seed in the ground and actually waiting. It's about the patience you're going to have to manifest what you want. A lot of people see this as unfulfilled desires, but I feel that if you have the patience, you can actually grow things. You know,
Mhm.
if you look at him, it's like reaping what is sown.
Mhm.
It's your perseverance, you know? You have to
Very
stick
much.
with it, and you have to hang into things and wait for them to manifest. Manifestation does take time, it takes energy, and sometimes what fuels what we wanna grow is our own tears. It's our own, work and our own sweat. You have to push it through. You know, there are times and this during this time of year I think we all feel a little stagnant. We're waiting for the world to wake up. We're waiting for the earth to start delivering us a little bit of bounty. But this is, if you're hanging in there, even if you're having a little losses and you're
Mhm.
feeling like holy crap, nothing is growing, everything is like in this frozen kind of state, know that we're about to enter a time where we are going to all start receiving what rewards from the hard work we're putting forth. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to think that we put all this effort in and it's not no rewards are coming. But
Yeah.
hey, if you keep on it, I have to honestly say, tenacity, that little that
Tenacity?
yeah, I can't even freaking talk today. Um, any kind of financial problems, any kind of love problems, you keep on feeding somebody love, good communication, and they're not giving it to you. This is when you either know when to walk away from something that's not delivering you
Yep.
equal effort, okay, for
Yep.
the price that you have invested in. It may be time to walk away, or it may be time to sit and let it grow and stop poking with it. It's a good time to also return to things that, you know, from the past, just like Spirit Beacon. That took a lot of work to, we moved from one place and then now it's a new place. This is going to be good.
Yeah.
I never look at the 7 of Pentacles like a bad card. I look
No.
at it like an opportunity. This is the little seed. It's the little seed, and let it grow. Let that little seed grow. And sometimes a risk is great. It's a great thing.
Yes.
It's what
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We were now we're heading into things a little bit more confident, a little bit more stronger. This tree was able to grow some roots.
Yep.
And what in your life are you growing? That is like the major. We're getting ready for the fall when we're going to be harvesting our rewards. So yes, it is work. Yes, it's patience. Yes, it takes a minute. And I want you to look at that in all areas of your life: love, magic, health, all of it. We took some hits, and now we're ready to grow.
And I want to say there is a famous quotation that I used to keep on my wall in my office, and I don't have it up right now, and I'm gonna need to find that and put it up. Um, because when I switched the office, when we built the temple and completely switched the office, I didn't completely unpack everything from the upstairs office. So I'm gonna have to find this because I think this is gonna be my mantra for the season that we're entering. A ship in the harbor is safe, but that's not what ships were built for.
Do your
And
due diligence. Get out there and do the hard, scary
that's
work.
what I'm
That's
feeling.
what
I'm
I feel like.
feeling
That's what we're doing.
get out there, take some risks. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's okay to fail too. It's
All right.
okay to try and it doesn't work, and it's time to learn from that and try the next thing. It's okay. Nobody that's successful can say to you, I've never had a failure. I've never failed at anything. Everything I've ever done has always worked right from the get go. And that's the other thing is when you said, you know, growing takes time, some people can't like hang in for the growth period. They just they want instant success or instant payback. They want that in magic too. And they can't understand why they don't instantaneously get it. And it's like, it's not always like that. There are times where, yeah, it's very fast. And there are other times where it's not, and it requires a little bit more work. And it's very telling to me anyway, if anyone, myself included, gives up too quickly on something, that's basically telling you, okay, you did not actually want that as much as you thought you did. Because if you wanted it as much as you thought you did, you'd push through to get to it. You'd figure out what the stopping points were and course correct and continue on the journey. So if you pull up too short, it's a sign that, okay, then that wasn't really for you, you
That
know,
goes
and
for
some
love
things take a
too.
lot of work.
For people looking and really projecting this card for love and friendship, sometimes, if you're putting the work in and you're putting the work in a relationship and it's just one thing after another.
Mhm.
Listen, if relationships have to end, it's okay. But if you want a relationship to grow, sometimes it takes a long time. Friendships, love, relationships between family members, it's not always going to be roses. You're
Nope.
going to have to walk through the valley of suck, I call, in order to get through the other side, of it. You're going to have moments and you're going to feel like nothing good is happening. All right.
There's the
And then
quote,
there are
folks.
actually times when
There's
you're
the
gonna
quote,
know when you gotta abandon because you're not happy.
right?
If you're not happy and you find yourself complaining or
Indeed,
like, "Ooh, waiting, oh, I'm waiting for the next good thing." Well, you know what? If nothing good
right?
has come, if you don't see the buds on the tree, guess what? The
Yep.
tree's dead.
So with all this in mind and coming into this is, a lot of people have been talking about Pisces season and the fact that basically Saturn has just entered Pisces as well, which we're about to talk to Tim about it. Hi, Janine. The crystal that I want to talk about is basalt. So this is the crust of the ocean. This is like the building blocks, some of the oldest material of the earth, but it forms under the pressure of the water. It's under the pressure. This is an amazing grounding stone, and it has it's like got a softness to it, which I feel is like a river rock, how it has that worn, soft. This is that kind of strength. I feel like the grounding here is specifically excellent for emotional stuff. So it's very specifically when you feel like you're emotionally dysregulated, when you feel like you can't gain back control and balance, which is scary for a Libra, but it happens. This is the go-to. This is the go-to. And I had these on last night and I had them the live 2 weeks before, and everybody's snapping them up because it's like it's got an energy unlike really anything else. And I know I've always been about the hematite being like my heaviest grounding stone. This is right up there and very specifically emotional, very specific with emotions and when you just feel like you're overwhelmed. This is the go-to now for me. And it's like, and Janine's on, Janine's watching right now, and I know she got one of these. And Janine,
Last
how
night,
has the energy been? How has the energy, have you started working with it yet? And how has the energy been? Because I find it amazing. So I want to switch up gears. That was the crystal I wanted to talk about for this season. And I just want to quickly switch gears. I don't know where you are, Lou, but hopefully you have our little, the beauty, the beauty magic thing queued up. But this is the one. Here we go. Magical makeup. This is the one I want to talk to you about. I love this brand, Pacifica. It's very clean makeup. It's good stuff. And this is the palette for me for this spring. This is what I'm moving into. A lot of these are like duochrome, amazing colors. And if you're taking a look, they gave a shout out to Taurus here. We have Taurus, we have Saturn in this palette. We've got Aquarius. So we're moving from Aquarius into Saturn. Saturn's moving from Aquarius into Pisces, sorry. And then we've got Crescent Moon as a color. Orion, we've got the Phoenix there. Check that out. The sky. So this is the palette. This is the new palette for spring. For me, I wear a bunch of these colors anyway. So I'm super excited. So it's this palette is called Stellar Gaze. And I also love, as somebody that's got a touch of some of the qualities of ADD, I love that it has a clear front so I can see instantly what's in it. Because I have a lot of palettes that you can't tell what's in them because they have like just a black face, and you're like, I have to open up every single one of these and try to figure out if it's got the colors I want. So shout out to Pacifica. Love that. All right. Let's bring on Tim Soaring Wolf. Tim, help us out with this crazy cosmic storm, the craziness.
Yes, and
feeling emotional upheaval.
Yes, and welcome back, everyone. Congratulations. We've leveled up, right? Next chapter here with the psychic tea, and great to be back. And I have heard with lots of astrologers, this month is said to be the most impactful month of the year. So it's awesome timing to have the show come on again. And I concur with all these other astrologers. Lots of really major interesting chart transits this month alone. We started out with the Venus conjunct Jupiter, which was super positive. You got both benefics of the, bringing love and favor and positivity. So just a really positive jump starting off the month. And, with Jupiter and Aries, there a lot of lessons about independence going on right now. You touched on it a little bit, Sandra, but this is the time to be bold, take action, take risks. Jupiter and Aries is all new projects flourish, with Jupiter and Aries. But it takes independence. It takes the opposite of Libra, which is the opposite of Aries. Libra is about working with others and dependence on others, but Aries is the opposite. So I could say definitely that I've had some lessons on independence myself, just realizing who's there, who's not, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it is a lesson about ourselves. That's something that we could be doing ourselves that we just need to not depend on others to do, I guess, sometimes. But at the same time, that Jupiter Venus conjunction happened, we had a Mercury Saturn conjunction, and just making things very sober and kind of serious in their speech, but also a time to just really speak things into your reality. And there's going to be more of that coming up this month with Saturn. Saturn is about boundaries and maturity and responsibility, bringing tests. Recently, I've been having some tests of faith and found out that Saturn was transiting my 9th house. The 9th house is the house of faith. But Saturn brings structure and stability as well. So while there are tests, there's structure. Never really given much thought, but I'm been learning French. I'm actually up to like intermediate level now, and also Spanish, and Saturn rules foreign languages. So while Saturn is transiting my 9th house, this is going to bring a lot of structure to that. But yes, at the same time, we had that. It looks like we lost Sandra, but I hope she'll come back here. But Saturn in Aquarius does put, we're just coming off Saturn in Aquarius, in Aquarius, Aquarius is all about social circles, friendship, technology, innovation. And what happened? The pandemic hit. We had restrictions on social distancing. We couldn't even like go out of our homes in many parts of the world. We were forced to rely on technology. But what happened to technology the past 3 years? It exploded, the innovations and advances, and not just computers and that kind of technology, but also with the medical field and the vaccines and all of those advancements and studies and researches now that are being happening. So that was a lot of Saturn and Aquarius. Aquarius being an air sign, and the pandemic was, affecting the lungs as well. But now as we go into Saturn and Pisces, the reason why this is like such a huge a thing, I when I think of Saturn, I had this little image of an old man coming over to your house and just like shaking every little piece of furniture, like shaking the desk and shaking the bed, shaking the bookshelf, and just making sure they're sturdy. And then, if they're not, if the bookshelf crumbles, Saturn will be like, oh, sorry, but hey, it wasn't sturdy. So are you going to be mad at Saturn because your bookshelf wasn't sturdy? No, you're going to fix the bookshelf, right? And sometimes those bookshelves, some are more important than others. If I'd be more upset if my desk with my computer stuff broke because that wasn't sturdy, or my bookshelf with crystals on it, or instead of something else. So that's what's happening, with Saturn. But the past 5 years, Saturn going through Capricorn, going through Aquarius, we really felt those Saturnian effects, because those are two Saturn ruled signs. So really the Saturn energy was there. Saturn was kind of dominating, and with being in its two home signs. Now moving into Pisces, which is a traditionally ruled Jupiter sign, Saturn is, a cold and dry planet. Now Saturn is moving into the waters of moisture. What moisture brings refreshment of the soul. So whereas we've faced some really harsh times, everyone is talking about the Saturn and Pisces because it will be a lift, a refreshment of the soul, of lifting of things. Pisces is all about dreams. And this is very interesting that at the peak of the full moon, which, we had the full moon in Virgo right around that time, that same day Saturn entered into Pisces. Saturn is all about boundaries and restriction. Pisces is the opposite, boundless sign, encompassing all 12 signs and struggles with boundaries. So having those opposites between the opposite full moon and sun and moon there, illumination from La Luna was showing you what you were going to be facing, probably, entering into this lesson of Saturn and Pisces. So hopefully y'all were paying attention about what was happening with the full moon, because a lot could it be some of those Saturn lessons. But yeah, moving into Saturn into a Jupiter ruled sign, Saturn will now be forced to rely on those Jupiter type things, like having faith and taking risks. So he's going to bring structure to those. All of our dreams, where our dreams may have been all over the place, Saturn will bring structure to those dreams. Therefore, paying attention to what we speak. Still, Mars is still in Gemini right now, meaning our words have power. So again, speaking into reality, those things that we want, our dreams. Saturn and Pisces right now has the ability to manifest those dreams into reality. So again, this should be it could be definitely a very positive time. The negative effects, could people not wanting to face certain harsh realities, having to take off the rose-colored glasses in certain scenarios could lead to escapism,
Right.
drugs, alcohol, that sort of thing. That would be the negative signs. But Saturn will remove some of those rose-colored glasses in some scenarios, and we will have to face some harsh realities.
Oh, yes.
Now,
Oh,
the past
yes.
few years, Saturn and Aquarius, fixed signs, have had a tough time. Or if you've had a lot of planets in fixed planets, you might have felt those effects. Now it's switching to mutable. So if you have a lot of planets in mutable signs, cardinal and fixed signs are going to get a break for a little bit. But if specifically the ones that are going to feel it the most, or the first ones that will feel it, is February Pisces, May Geminis, August Virgos, and December Capricorns. You guys are going to feel the effects of this transit the first, the most. And so mutables will have some rose-colored glass moments breaking, and I'm speaking from a Gemini's perspective as well. But yes, Saturn and Pisces, again, forcing Saturn to the opposites attract the watery, boundless energy of Pisces into the structure and responsibility and maturity of Saturn. So it'll be, I think, an interesting time the next few years. But one of the most important transits that a lot of people are missing this month is Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now, we're only going to get a brief glimpse of it from March until June, but next year it goes into it full time for the next 20 years. This is a societal change that we are going to experience, and
Ooh,
we're going to
boy.
get a glimpse of it this year, starting March 23rd. So,
Oh, boy.
and it's interesting, when we talk about generations, Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, how similar they follow the transits of Pluto. Pluto moves through signs about every 20 years. So this is the generational societal change we're going to experience. We're going to, we've seen the dark side of hierarchy and people in authority, and those people that were abusing authority were outed, and there was opportunities to destroy that. Pluto brings the destruction of what needs to be destroyed, and we saw that with governments and hierarchy. And now it's going into humanitarian efforts, computers, technology. We might see the dark side of the web. Things will break down on the dark side of the web, humanitarian efforts. We were already starting to see a lot of it with the age of Aquarius starting from 2020, but even more so, this Aquarian age is going to start to manifest, and we'll see a glimpse of it starting March 23rd here. But lastly, just as we progress towards the end of the month, between the 15th, that week of the 15th, 17th, a lot of planets in Pisces will be squaring Mars and Gemini. So there's going to be some challenges, words, confusion a little bit, which will lead into a Venus and Aries square Pluto, Capricorn, at that 16th to 21st, right before Pluto enters Aquarius. But yeah, so definitely look towards the end. Those challenges could lead into the intensity of the Venus square towards the end of the month there. But Aries March 21st, Aries new moon. Again, empowering to be independent, fiery, speak into existence what you want. Mercury will be very close to the new moon. Mercury, and then of course Mars in Gemini, adding power to our words. So
I love that.
I'm planning to do a spell that day. But
I
yes,
love
look towards
this.
speaking and just mind your words, a period in general with Mars and Gemini. Even talking about yourself. Oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. I hate myself. Don't say that. Words create worlds, as they say, reality. And we want to, this is the time where we want to speak the things we want to see into our life. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you folks. And thank you for, one last thing.
Yes.
I wanted to mention I did
your offer. Yes.
I have a promotion that I wanted to extend. People have been asking about my astrology classes, which I'm not planning to do a live class, but I wanted to do something similar. So I'm offering mentorships to anyone interested. I've also reduced my price of my reading. So $50 for 1 full hour of anything astrology based on your level of knowledge, whether beginner, whether intermediate or above. You want to focus on houses, you want to focus on aspects, whatever you want to focus on for that full hour, or if you want to focus just on a full reading on your birth chart. So with that, feel free to reach me all. You all know where to find me on Facebook or my link here that's on that page. But thank you guys. Great to see you back. Can't wait to
Thank you.
Good to have you back, Tim.
Good to see you, Tim.
Thank you.
Yes. Be well.
Now
we're ready. I got it. I'm ready.
I got mine.
I got mine.
I am so proud and pleased that we are relaunching the Psychic Tea with our very special guest, Vivian Crowley. Welcome to the Psychic Tea. Yes, oh my gosh. Wow. So exciting.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's really great to be with you. And here in England, it is tea time. So look, I have a mug.
I love it. And it has Sagittarius on it, Leanne.
I'm talking long distance. I'm not a Sagittarian, but now Mercury is in Sagittarius. So
I love it. So Leanne's company is called Sagittarius Rising because she and Tim are both Sag Rising.
Yeah.
So
I really loved Tim's discussion about all the planetary energy there is around now and so much change. The weekend before last, I was in Italy running a workshop about Saturn.
I love it.
Wonderful.
to help people kind of embrace this change, because I think people like us who are very creative, we can be very kind of floaty and have millions of ideas, but actually we need to be quite grounded and practical and businesslike, and we have to stop doing some things and select and focus if we're going to achieve anything. So actually I'm really embracing this Saturn in Pisces. I think it can be wonderful for people like us. If we know how to use the energy, then it can really take us places.
I so agree. And I've got to say, I'm super excited to see Anubis there behind you. I adore Anubis. I'm very excited to see that you have a beautiful statue of Anubis there with you. I adore the Egyptian champion.
Down here on the floor is mini Anubis. We have a rescue dog from the south of Spain, from a breed that's descended from the Pharaoh hounds. And in fact, I had to get up just a few moments ago from the seat because he burst in here. He could hear you guys talking and he didn't want to be left out. So he's learned how to open doors.
I love him.
Yeah, so he opened the door and he came in to join us.
He's a cutie.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's wonderful. You rescued a dog. That's a beautiful thing.
Fantastic.
All
I
about
love
the
that.
animals.
I love that. That's awesome.
And super exciting for me is so great you've got this. And we also now have this, the paperback as well. So
Ooh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I had to have the hardcover.
Oh yeah.
Please bless our books from over there.
Yes.
I know you can't sign them. Please bless them. Bless it. There you go. Thank you. I caught it. And when we see you over here, which I believe we will.
Yes. We would love to invite you.
Absolutely have you sign. We're just waiting for your word for when you're ready to travel. But we would love to have you. And when we do, we will absolutely have you sign our books.
Great. But we'll sort something out. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Later this year or next year, we'll sort this out. Yeah.
I would love. We would love that. We would adore that. So yes. So you were originally, you were an Alexandrian.
I was, yeah.
Like myself. And you were in a coven with Alex Sanders, the founder, along with Maxine, of the Alexandrian tradition.
Indeed, yes. That was my very first coven. They were so wonderful in taking in young people and giving us experiences and knowledge. Sadly, I arrived just at a time when, unfortunately, their marriage was kind of disintegrating. So that set me off on another journey to find another coven. Happened to be another tradition, but very little difference, really.
Gardnerian is very similar, obviously, to Alexandrian. So
yes,
very similar.
Same roots and same practices, really. So, yeah, people get too hung up about these labels, I think, really.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think that, it's important to acknowledge, though, that those traditions have their contribution to the craft as it is, promulgated today, cannot be overstated. We simply wouldn't have the craft practice that we have today without those traditions of Alexandrian and Gardnerian.
Yes, and also without those very brave people who were pioneers in all this and who were prepared to come out of the broom closet at a time when the world could be very hostile. And I think it's easy now when we can have sort of witchy shops in not every high street, but many, to forget just how brave those people were to stand up and say, well, I'm a witch and I want to tell you about this. And I'm prepared to talk to the media. I'm prepared to go on television. And they did us a great service. I mean, most of us who are my generation would never have heard of the craft if it wasn't for people like that who did media broadcasts, who prepared to be interviewed and have their words distorted in the media, as the media always did. But those who were drawn to this kind of path, you had a sense that there was something behind all the hype and all the wrong labels and everything. And we was sent on a journey to find it.
I
Yeah,
just
and
think
they
that's
are,
incredible. And
yeah.
they asked you to wait until you were 18, right? You approached before you were even 18, yes?
Yes, I did. I wrote a letter and eventually, but no, it had to be at least 18. And then as soon as I got to 18, I started looking for them again and found them. And yeah, the rest is history, as they say. But I think always when we find our true path, there's a series of events that happen that somehow open the doors for us. And we find what I call my tribe. And we know when we found our tribe. I sort of felt when I walked into the room, well, these people might be a bit strange, but they're strange like I'm strange. And I think the joy of that in finding our own tribe is that we find our own normal. We find a world in which it's normal to be psychic. We're not special or different. It's just the normal way of life. Because otherwise, you can feel a little bit isolated and alone, but also maybe you feel you're too special. if you're the only psychic in the village and you're the only psychic in the village, when you meet others and you have to kind of learn from them and exchange ideas, you realize you're in a whole community of equals. So you're not so special, you're a bit special. And that's much better for the ego than being too special, I think. Yeah.
I think some people get on like a power trip, and that's no bueno.
Yeah, and that's the danger of being isolated. When you become part of a community, then you meet people who are much wiser and more experienced than you that you can learn from. Eventually, you absorb some more wisdom and you have something to teach. But it's more holistic process, I think. So learning in isolation is great up to a point, but then I think we need these interactions with others. So. For some of us, that meant joining a formal coven. It doesn't mean that for everybody, but having these community experiences where we come together for workshops or for teachings and we learn and we interact with others, we exchange experiences with people like us who have similar experiences, similar issues, and they're not so unusual. They're just like normal. That's really great, and that's the power of community and the sort of work you guys do in spreading your wisdom and your knowledge and sharing. It's really great work.
When you were younger, growing up, what was the first bell you heard? What drew you in? What part of nature or when you were born?
I think for me, I lived, and I talk about this in the book, I lived some of my first years on a farm, and I was an only child. There weren't any other children on the farm.
No children.
But that gives
the children.
So we turn to books, and we start reading and get way ahead with our reading and learn from that. Yep. But also, I had to learn to be okay with being on my own. And I had to learn if I wanted to do things, sometimes I just have to do them on my own. So if I wanted to go and play in the woods and my friend couldn't come down to play that day, then I just go on my own.
Yep.
And in spending that time alone with nature, with trees, becoming used to the sound of bird song, learning to distinguish the different sounds of birds, listening to all the rustlings in the woods of all that wonderful activity of all the small animals that are hidden away there, sort of doing their thing. Yes. It helps us acquire much deeper and more acute sensitivity to the energies around us. So those of us who had some of those experiences, we were just really lucky. And I think if you spend time with nature, you draw instinctively close to a pagan worldview, even if you don't know those sort of words, but you start to feel that trees are alive, they have presence, they have spirit, they have awareness. You become aware that animals have much more sensitivity than people are normally notice or aware of. So you start to feel that we're spiritual beings, but we're connected with the other spirits of the wood. And so that we begin to get closer to a worldview that was maybe something that came from our earliest ancestors who lived much more like that, listening to the trees, listening to the wind, looking at the stars. So if we've had those experiences, it kind of begins to shift the way we look at things. And so all the things that we're told at school are the way that things are. We start maybe to question that a lot more, especially if we've got a little bit ahead with the reading. So we can think, I'm not sure that's right, what that guy's saying. So, yeah, and also if you're spending a lot of time with adults and having to hold conversation with adults as a child, then you start to learn a lot of stuff that maybe you don't if you're more absorbed in your peer group. So yeah, those things started it for me. But also, if we're meant to go on a particular path, that path calls us. And so one of my earliest experiences started to be to have this sense of the horned god, and to have dreams where the horned god appeared. And eventually I felt the horned god was somehow calling me, but I had no idea what that could mean. And it wasn't until I saw, in fact, Alex and Maxine Sanders on television talking about the horned god, I thought, that's it. That's where we find that. It's called Wicca, or the craft. And that was like the first sign for me that other people thought a little bit like me. I hadn't come across that before. And I think that first time we realize there's other people who think like us is really powerful, really, really powerful.
Indeed. Very much so.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you for that story. I love it. Yes. And Leanne and I both being only children, we're really, that's resonating because I grew up here on Gallows Hill in Salem, which has just wild woods, lots and lots of places to roam. And sure, there were plenty of times I was roaming in those woods with my friends, but there were also times where I was very much alone, and I would traverse those woods, to and from school, walking, on the daily. So I'd be going, a lot of times by myself through those woods. And there's definitely just a different energy there. Especially here, and especially with what everything that's associated with the spirits of this place. And so the spirit of place here has its own vibration and its own energy that I think is different. And there's lots of places around here that, that have that. I'm definitely not saying this is the only one, but growing up on it, growing up here, and a lot of people have said to me, oh, was that weird for you with those spirits and everything? I say, I didn't really know any different. Like, I grew up in it, and this was home. And so it didn't really strike me as special, strange, or whatever. It was just, this is it as it is. And I had lots of time to go and explore all of it. So yes, I think that contributed greatly.
And just being allowed to be alone.
Yeah. Yes, and that's something some children don't get now. There's too much intrusion sometimes, I think. But it's really interesting what you're saying, Sandra, about the spirit of place, because again, that's how our ancestors would have lived. They'd have known a piece of land so intimately. They'd have known all its changing seasons and its animals and birds and flowers, the composition of its soil, the smell of its soil after rain. It had been deeply ingrained within them. And not many of us get the opportunity now to live so closely to nature that we can notice all these things.
Definitely.
Do you have any recommendations for, young people who have interest in the craft, how to connect to the gods, to themselves, especially with the noise? There's so much noise, and there's so many people constantly in everyone's ears right now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you're a young seeker of magic and wisdom and all these things, finding some time, not so to be totally alone in nature, but just to go quietly with maybe some friends who have got a similar kind of yearning for greenness and connectivity, just to go out in nature, go wild camping, go wild swimming, spend time with trees. And you can spend a lot of time on the internet, but the internet won't give you all the answers you need. Time and space to listen to your own inner voice of wisdom. So when we're out in nature, we can do this. I mean, you're so blessed in the States with these amazing state and national parks, which
Yes.
have this fantastic resource that it is possible to go to for weekends. And yeah, it's just fantastic future vision that people had in the 19th century to make those spaces and keep them safe.
Yes.
Just great.
Yes.
Also, any meditative practice that helps us still all that busyness in the head, stop all the multitasking, just allow some of the brain cells to stop firing and just to be present in the moment. So I think it's really significant. There's been this huge trend towards mindfulness meditation over the past few decades because people sense they really need that kind of stillness, those times of stillness. So all the meditative practices that have become very mainstream can be really helpful. It's really great if you can maybe go on a meditation retreat or a yoga weekend or something like that, where you're kind of working with stilling the busy thinking mind, but working with the body, working with the senses, experiencing life in the body. A friend of mine has just been on this amazing weekend about making perfume, which, I mean, obviously perfume and incense and all these wonderful smell ingredients have always been ways of stimulating different types of magical consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but what for her really brought and made it a very spiritual experience was just that being with that one sense and learning to very finely discriminate the change and notice the mood effect it had on her. So anything that helps you work with the senses, gives times of stillness, things that you do, make with your hands, any artwork is wonderful for opening up different parts of the psyche, the parts that allow us to hear the deep inner voice, but also stimulate the creative imagination, because the gods speak to us through image and through symbol.
Oh, so much.
Yes, absolutely. So anything that opens up that is really great. And also the very old magical practice is really essential of keeping a magical diary and writing down dreams, particularly, obviously, anything that seems somehow to stick in the mind. But to do that, you have to be prepared to kind of wake up in the morning and write it down, because after 15 seconds, it's gone. But when we do that and we keep doing it, even for a couple of weeks, you'll find the quality of your dreams really changes, and your dreams will start to send you messages and give you information and provide connection with the wider psyche, if you like. Because if we signal to our brains that, oh, I'm really interested in this stuff, your brain will start giving you more of it. But if your brain doesn't think you're interested, as soon as you wake up, it'll shut that down, boom, and you won't remember any of it. So
it's amazing how connected our physical body is with our spiritual body while we're here.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey to be embodied at all, is to experience that. And so many people, myself included, I leaned so heavily into intellect and I leaned so heavily into my spirituality that I just kind of wasn't connecting my physical body enough with all of that. I've restarted my yoga practice. I've restarted using artwork and actually creating artwork, making something with my own two hands. Whether that's, drawing, which I've loved since I was a child, or painting, or anything really, just doing projects in the house that I have to do with my hands, and engaging my body as much as possible, because that connection is so powerful. And leaning further into how my body can help my mind, and my mind can help my body. And so just trying to especially with dealing with anxiety, which I talk a lot about when I talk about the crystals, because I know so many people from the kind of world we live in right now, so many people have different levels of anxiety, whether it's generalized anxiety or very, acute anxiety like panic attacks. How your body can actually help you control that part of the brain is amazing. And I've been doing ice, like icing my vagus nerve, and I've been talking to other people about that. So using the cold to try to like numb that nerve, to try to calm that nerve down. How much can change, like when we use scent, when you were talking about the person going on the perfume retreat, scent is one of the most powerful triggers that we have physically. Scent can take us right back to a moment in time. Scent can bring us all the way back to our childhoods. Scent, we don't even realize how connected we will connect a feeling or a thought or a moment with the scent, and then we can instantly use that. And I know that I have done better if I've studied, used, and smelled something while I was studying, and
Right.
then wore that on my wrist to the test and smelled it in the test. I've actually done better. I've had better recall of the notes from associating that scent. So our bodies are magical,
Mm.
not just our minds, not just, it's our bodies are magical too. And I think we as women especially have been judging our bodies so harshly based on what society has been telling us about our bodies, that the idea of kind of freeing that part of ourselves is just, it's like unlocking a whole nother level in our magical practice. And I just
Yeah.
think,
It's
we need
incredible.
to delve. I want to delve more deeply into that. I've also been doing a lot more exercise in the water,
Oh, yeah.
and that's been opening up my psychic sense
Mm.
to an unbelievable level. Of course, it's been dialing up my emotions as well, which is hence the basalt. But like honestly, the water, the association and how your body reacts in the water. Leanne, you've come with me a couple of times.
Yeah,
Mm.
the whole thing with the body and how we've healed, and it's crazy. It's crazy, telling you. Personally, I know magic is real, the gods are real, all of it's real. I wouldn't be talking if it wasn't real. I mean,
Yeah.
I have my cardiologist literally now sign magic. I'm making babies. They're literally telling me I need to meditate. It's being prescribed. They want us to connect. And we're getting people at Mass General, Beth Israel in Boston, making these statements of, you know what, you need to meditate. You have to connect to something. I had my general practitioner tell me, if you want to live, you need to talk to your gods. Go talk to them, because that is going to make you healthy inside and out. You'll be a better example for others around you. And we radiate. We'll just radiate. So yes, yay to the body, the nature, all of it. We need it. We need it.
And even when we're wanting to work on our bodies, we have to accept where we are in the moment.
Yeah. But I think that's a really great tip that you've just given, Sandra, about connecting a smell with a piece of learning or a piece of knowledge. That's really good magic. It's a kind of magic the Renaissance magicians were doing, back in the sort of 15th century. It's really, really powerful. And of course, you can work with planetary oils and planetary incenses and different connections. But I also think it's really great that you're mentioning the basalt and that particular piece of basalt you have. When I was running the Saturn workshop the weekend before last, I was talking about basalt as a very good stone for positive Saturn, for being sort of having a really good grounding and foundation and inner strength and resilience. We need so much resilience, in the way we have to live our lives these days, don't we? And the shape of your basalt is great because it's directional. It's not, it's a strength that's going somewhere.
Yes.
This is what I think Saturn can do for us, and give us an inner strength and certainty and resilience that enables us to launch ourselves.
I would love to send you this piece from
Oh,
our talk today.
wow. Well, if
So,
the postage cost would be horrendous, Sandra.
I'm not worried about it. Off
Okay,
channel,
right.
we will talk. I will email you, but I would
Oh,
love to
that's
send
so
you this piece
kind.
from today, because I think it's got a lot of the energy in it of the discussion that we're having, which I think's been very powerful, and
Yeah.
it's capturing it right here. And I'm going to send it to you. So we'll talk after. I'll email you, and I'll get you. I'll get an address where you can receive something.
Well, when three women come together, it's a powerful thing.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And
And we're just feeling incredibly blessed to make this connection with you. And I think that our people that love to watch the Psychic Tea are going to be so excited when they see this one, because they can watch it on the playback, even if they don't get to watch it while we're actually here, even if they're not able to be in the chat or whatever. They will experience it at some point, usually this week. People will tune in at their leisure, and they'll be able to, listen to everything that we're saying. And if people wanted to reach out and email you, is there a contact? Do you have a website or a contact where someone could reach out and email you?
Yes, I've got a viviancrowley.com website. You can also find me on Academia Edu, and there's various things actually. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And of course at Cherry Hill Seminary, which is a pagan distance learning seminary for pagan ministry. So
I love that.
yeah.
And it's very important. And I'm just gonna rant for a moment. I think it's vital that we keep the skeleton of the craft intact.
Yeah.
The traditions are the skeleton, fresh people coming in with fresh ideas and new systems and everything. That's great. Those are the muscles that make the thing move. And that's the blood that courses through and keeps it alive. But the structure should not be broken. The structure keeps the thing moving in the direction. It holds everything up.
Yeah.
And it's great to have muscle. It's great to have blood. But if you don't have a skeleton, you're not going anywhere. You're a blob on the whatever. So it's vital, I think, for people to understand the history of the craft, to understand pioneer people like you that were involved when this resurgence of the craft happened. And what we're enjoying today is the direct result of the labor that was done then. I think it's vital for us to encourage people to embrace the scholarship of what is the foundation, the bedrock of the craft. What's the crust of the craft, like the crust of the earth? What is the history? Where's all this from? And it is there's a specific bunch of principles. There are specific pieces of learning that I find vital that are kind of getting lost in the noise, as it were. And everyone's an instant expert. And if you have 1 million TikTok followers, you're obviously, an expert. And it's like, there are so many people out there, not only either disseminating misinformation, but incomplete information. And in some cases, barely even know what they're talking about, but yet, they're watchable. They have a watchable quality or what have you. And so they get to be influencers, and they wind up, just taking on, all these students that are not really students, because they're not actually trying to learn from the academic or, the scholars of the craft. And I just want to encourage people. Yes, listening to your own inner bell is great. And yes, exploring your own, whatever, and your own relationships with the gods and your own personal gnosis. Yes, Leanne and I talk about that in every single book we've written. But at the same token, We're encouraging you not to just dip your toe in, get in the water. Don't just reach for the McNuggets. Okay? Get the whole meal, get the whole thing. Actually cut the steak, the meat and potatoes of the craft, not just the fast food, not just the junk food, the real deal. It's out here. There are people still walking this planet that were there when this whole thing started. Like, yes, I think it's great that there are people that are just like, I just wing it. That's lovely. Wing it all you want. I like to wing it sometimes too, but I know the basics. So I have a foundation from which to wing from. So please figure out if you really want to be a part of this. And if you do, go a little deeper. I encourage you to dig a little deeper. I promise you, no matter how learned you think you are about this, you haven't hit the top or the bottom. So dig
No instant results. What
Me
will I
too.
do without instant results? I got microwavable witchcraft. Put it in the microwave. Boom, I'm done.
I mean, Leanne can tell you, I love me a good ranch chicken too. I like a 3-ingredient. I like a 3-ingredient recipe every now and again too.
I walk around. This is my thing. Please elaborate say the whole thing.
See, well, I'm just saying, like, sometimes
Was it ranch chicken witchcraft, or do you
Right?
want chicken tetrazzini? Was
Right?
that what you said?
sometimes you want the big elaborate, sometimes you want the elaborate working. Sometimes it's an emergency and you just have to spring into action in the moment. You're not going to look at what phase the moon is in. You're not going to necessarily look up where the planets are. You're not going to necessarily spend, a month going out and cutting your own herbs or whatever. Sometimes you got to just do it. Sometimes if someone calls you and goes, so-and-so just got hit by a car, then yeah, you're not going to be like, oh, in 2 weeks, it looks like a good time to do a healing. No, you're going to just go right to it. But what about the big things in your life where you do have some time to actually put the work in? Wouldn't you like to do it in the day and the hour? Wouldn't you like to take a look at the aspects? Wouldn't you like to say, I grew these herbs, or I, went to Pentagram and I consulted with Leanne and she handpicked these herbs for me. And we went and my friend made me this candle, and it's a very special candle made on a very special day, with special ingredients. And I got this anointing oil and I'm going to anoint it with this special. There's something about that has value.
Yeah.
There's something about putting all that work in. And in part, I think it's us saying to the gods, if you can help me have this thing in my life, I will show you that I will put the work into it. I will take care of it. I will do the care and feeding of this thing. If you give this relationship to me, if you give this job to me, if you help me achieve these things, I will be worthy of them because I am putting the work in. I have put the study in and I have put the effort in. And so in part, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you're like, if I can take this amount of time and effort just to bring about the magic to get the thing, surely I can achieve the thing. It's almost like you convince yourself that you can.
And also those processes change us.
Yes.
And they give us a groundedness and they give us wisdom. So we have more to bring to the party. And and
yes.
kind of energy attracts things. So just
Yes.
doing processes changes the situation. Definitely.
I would say choose your teachers wisely. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, everyone has something to teach us. Yes, we get it. But if you're actually going to study with someone, or you're actually going to make an effort in a tradition, or you're actually going to, ask for initiation, or you're going to go, through some training at an established place, research the people that you're getting yourself involved with. Even if you just ask them a few questions to ascertain what their qualifications are, what would make you want to study with them. Don't just watch a TikTok video and decide that's the person. It's like, get a little more, get a little, like you would if you were gonna buy a house. You'd you'd walk through the whole house, you'd have an inspection, you'd take a look at everything. And if you're going to go buy a car, you want to go kick the tires yourself, do that with the people that you trust to deliver you the knowledge about something that, yeah, it's going to influence all the choices and decisions that you make, especially if this is your spiritual path. This is going to impact your worldview. It's going to impact pretty much every decision you make. I think it's important enough that it's worth doing a little investigating and deciding, is this the person that I really want to connect with? And, is this what I want to align myself with, and not just, this is easy, it's here. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but is it the right thing? Is that the vibe? And is it the vibe too? You kind of have to, figure out if that's the vibe. So yeah, I'm going to get off my soapbox.
No, it's good. It's good.
Not
every road that opens up to you is your path. If something opens, not every door you should walk through. Sometimes you need to slam that door and go, no. You have to look when you say yes to something, how it affects yourself, others around you, and also who's attached to it. I don't know. Everybody wants everything quick, instant gratification.
Yep.
Like you said before, this is an instant world. Magic and learning anything takes a while. I don't care if you're going to learn a faith, if you're going to become a faithful person, if you're going to believe in something, if you're going to love the gods, if you're going to love yourself and your community around you, that takes time. Yeah. That's a seed that plants patience, perseverance, walking through bullshit. It matters.
It does. It does.
It's quite a journey. And thank you so much, Vivian, for being here with us. We are so excited to have you. And we hope you come and visit us here in Salem.
Well, it's been so
absolutely neat. Love that.
It's taken us a while to sort it out, but we got there in the end. So.
Yes. And just very, very happy to have your energy and your wisdom as a part of our relaunch. I think it really bodes well for the just for the way that we want, like you said, when we're teaching others, or we're putting ourselves out there, this is the energy, this is what we're offering. And it's free. It's free. We're not charging anybody anything to come and be a part of this. Everybody can watch this. Everybody can, and anybody can reach out. And yeah, I think that's where it's at. I mean, I actually took an oath, that if I were to teach what I had been taught, that I would not charge to teach it. And I take that very seriously. And sure, there are things that cost money, like crystals or jewelry or things that cost money. But like I've, my coven is a teaching coven, and we don't charge anybody anything. And that's the way I was taught, and that's the way Leanne was taught, and and that's the way you were taught. And that's what we're carrying on. And so, and that has import to us, and so we don't charge for the Sabbats. We don't charge people to be in our covens. And that's why, in a world where everyone is literally trying to monetize practically everything, I think it is so important for people to understand that the British traditions that stem from Gardner are that is a factor in those things, and that is part of the oaths that are taken, and that those oaths should be taken seriously. So
yeah, and it's wonderful to know that people are carrying on in that spirit. Really great. Yeah, really
yeah. Great. And I'm telling you, it's a small but elite group. And I know it's not for everybody, and I get that. I very well understand that. It's a smaller group, you know, but it's a powerful group.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it can be controversial at times. I'm sure a lot of people have, you know, have had controversies with people, you know, from within the traditions, and there's always seems to be, you know, a lot of talk about how, you know, exclusive it is, and it's like it's not really exclusive, but you have to want to put the work in.
Yeah.
It's welcoming, but you have to put the work in.
Mm.
And we don't just hand out, you know, the degrees. You have to actually do the work. And the degrees are not mine to give you. The degrees are yours to embody, and they're easy to recognize when you see them. And that journey, and I tell people all the time, I've already done my degrees. I don't have a vested, you know, personal interest in yours other than as a guide. I am not, if you achieve them or don't, it is not a reflection of me. It is 100% your journey. You achieving great things with that, I don't take credit for that. Just like if you don't achieve them, I'm not going to take credit nor blame. It is your journey. It's your personal journey. And for you to truly be empowered, you have to own it 100%. I never signed on for the theory that the teacher carries the karma for the student. I don't believe that. Everyone's karma is individual. I don't even like to use the word karma with regard to the craft. It's an Eastern philosophy that's kind of been picked up and dropped into the middle of it. But it's like everyone's tally is theirs and theirs alone. Your achievements are yours. Your failures are yours, just like mine are mine. I don't blame mine on my teachers. If I have failings, that's on me. And that's empowerment. That's on independence, folks, period. There's no other way to actually be empowered without taking full responsibility. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Logic is, if you want to take on empowerment, you have to honestly take on responsibility. You know what I mean? It is you. It's on you. And so it's sort of like, and we're seeing people come into the craft and go and open the door and go, oh no, and shut the door and go back out and be like, it was easier over here where I was just winging it. And it's like, okay, you know, and so we're seeing fewer and fewer people actually putting the work in, actually achieving, you know what I mean, and going through the degrees, which is like, you know, we have to say to ourselves, like, what's the message here? And I would hate to think that I would hate to think that the message is that the basics and the principles that have guided magic for centuries, really, when you think about it, that those are now irrelevant or unimportant in favor of, you know, here's a quick tip, put a basil leaf in your shoe. Bye. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's great. But that's, you know, that's a 10-second blurb. Whereas, you know, what's the basis for that? You know what I mean? So it's just like, there are principles. There's like a whole bunch of correspondences that are the framework for why you would choose basil or why you would choose, you know, and do you want that greater understanding or not? Like, do you want to understand how all this works and how is this all connected and what people have spent, you know, centuries passing down? Do you want to get that, or do you want to let it all go? You know what I mean? In the interest of, it's so much faster just to be like, oh, I just say whatever. I just, you know, I walk out under the stars and say whatever I'm going to say. And that's awesome. I've done that too. And there's a space for that. And there's, I would say in pretty much every ritual we do, there is room for that. So it's not a question of choose either or. It's more of there's something else here beyond just that, beyond just I walk out under the stars and I say whatever my heart tells me to say. That's a piece of it. That's definitely a piece of it. Do you want to go any deeper than that? Some people don't, and that's okay. But some people have to stand up and lead.
Mm.
So I also feel like on the one hand, it's like, if you choose to stand up and lead, you should be that person that's done that research. You should be that person that will know how to answer the questions of the seekers that you'll attract by calling yourself a leader or a teacher. And you should understand the workings of these things if that's how you're setting yourself up. If you just want to be a person that goes out under the stars and says whatever you want, that's wonderful. Just don't call yourself a leader of the craft.
Mm.
Don't hang a shingle and then charge people to come learn whatever. Because they can all just go out under the stars and say whatever they want to say too. And it's not going to cost them any money to do it. I guess I didn't really step down off that soapbox.
You weren't wrong.
Leanne looped me
You
back
needed a
into
little
it
bit
somehow.
more. Needed a little bit more. We're having a
There
week.
was still a little bit more there.
Planetary stuff and everything.
There was still a little bit more to be said.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
It's been really wonderful connecting with
Thank you so much.
It's been
I
wonderful.
really appreciate it.
Because you got held up by snow last week. So,
Oh my gosh,
yes.
Leanne was stuck in Detroit.
I was stuck in Detroit.
Yeah.
It was a thing. We were at a lovely convocation, but we were stuck in Detroit after it was over. And it was the little trip that ended up being a week long.
Right? It was just going to be a little quick weekend, zip out,
Yeah.
and
We were
the
gonna zip
weather.
out, head back to the shop. No,
No,
it was.
the weather
I
had
got-
other plans.
Mhm. It was okay. It was okay. We made the most of our time there,
Right?
I guess. Yes. No. I'm glad we were able to connect. This is wonderful.
Yes.
We hope you come to visit us here in Salem.
People, you need this book.
You need it. Buy the book.
People, please go out and find this book. Amazing. A delightful memoir of a magical life. That's what Gary had to say about it, Gary Lackman. And I agree. So
I absolutely agree as well.
this has a lot of moments to reflect. Lots to reflect on in there. So it's
Yes.
and it's a lovely read. You are easy to read. How's that? You're easy to read.
I'm really pleased. Good.
Yeah.
Enjoyed very, very much. Very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here with us.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Thanks, everybody.